Wet areas are getting wetter and dry ones drier. In the future, we expect more heat waves, spread of diseases, less water, longer droughts, less food, bigger and hotter wildfires, and sea levels rising. All of this will result in an enormous mass migration of people and intense competition for resources, driving global conflict. In order to prevent all of that, 196 countries have gathered at the Paris Agreement, stating they will do all in their power to lower their emissions. But that's not nearly enough. Some have taken action, but for many others, nothing has changed. There are no penalties, no real obligations. Just hope that everyone will do what is right. Our economy still heavily relies on fossil fuels, oil for transportation, coal and natural gas for electricity. And lately, we've been going to extremes fighting new sources, mountaintop removal for coal, fracking for natural gas, offshore drilling and tar sands for oil. The math is clear. The world has already discovered more fossil fuels than we can safely burn. Because we live in a capitalistic society, money is the most powerful thing we know. Money is why wars start, why we still use oil, why we're cutting down rainforests, and why politics can rarely make a difference. We allow industries to pollute our environment, contaminate our waters, and behave like there's no tomorrow. But where there's money, there are taxes. And we all hate taxes. We avoid paying them every chance we have. And if you think about it, that's the biggest opportunity and the most effective tool there is. If we know people will do anything to avoid paying, why don't we just tax behavior we consider bad and reduce the taxes for good behavior? Some countries have already introduced a small tax on carbon emissions. Some have done much more than that. Denmark has an enormous tax on non-electric cars while providing financial support to buying an electric car, using that tax to fund research for alternative fuels. Implementing taxes on emissions can only come with public support and initiative. It's pointless to tax people. The problem must be addressed at the core. Taxation must be implemented for companies, first only emissions and later on the entire harmful footprint. That would at first make food, gas, electricity more expensive. But by using more sustainable ways to do business, they will in turn pay less taxes, making their products cheaper and becoming the better option on the market. Tax on emissions needs to start immediately. It needs to start small, but still big enough to be noticeable for companies. Then it needs to rise every year to make sure that being sustainable will be the cheapest option long term. A half of these taxes should then be invested to finance research on renewable energy, and the other half equally to each and every citizen to help cope with higher prices and gain support of the people that we so desperately need. It would let society do what it does best: innovate, develop, and by becoming the sustainable option, lead us to a better world. Benjamin Franklin said, "Nothing is certain but death and taxes." I agree. Right now, we have come to the point where we either save our planet or destroy it. So I would say it's either death or taxes.